All right, thank you. We have gotten through some of our technical difficulties, and the next conversation on a bench guest is a good friend, Tom Vries. Tom is currently the president of Citygate Network, and I'm being asked a lot, Tom, why are you doing this? And my staff keep answering it's because of Citygate. So thank you for joining me, and why don't you share just a little bit about who Citygate Network is, and then why we're doing conversations on a bench.
Love to do that, Dennis, and great to be able to have this conversation. And it's been cool because we have 70 different missions that are participating in really World Homeless Day, which is October 10th, and being able to kind of do live look-ins for each of the missions and the conversations has really been a thrill and awesome. And I got to tell you, you got a great spot there. I kind of see the Rockies during the day. I saw the Rockies in the background, and you've had a tremendous lineup. What we're trying to do with regard to helping be able to talk about homelessness and addiction recovery and the challenges of mental health and what our missions and ministries are doing. Citygate Network started in 1906, so almost 120 years old. And our first mission actually started in 1872 in New York City. And it really was there to be able to help people that were struggling with addiction, helping people that were living on the street. And now 120 years later, we're still doing the same thing and recognizing that there's really a need, as we're compelled by the love of Christ, to reach out and share and show that love in ways that make a difference.
Yeah, that's so important. And, I think that what I'm learning from this event already, because this is the first time that Denver Rescue Mission has done this, and the depth of the conversations have just been amazing to me, whether we're talking to, one of our dedicated staff or a community partner. And we've even had some people on the bench that I've never met before and we don't have a natural working relationship with, but yet finding that common ground, it's just been so impactful. So I'm actually really grateful. I don't know how I'll feel at 4 a.m, but right now I'm so grateful that Citygate Network has promoted this and challenged CEOs like me to be a part of this event. So thank you for that leadership.
It's been it really has been great, and to see so many that are willing to get out there and to sit on a bench for 24 hours and knowing that a few hours from now we're all going to be a little more disoriented, but still continuing to be talking and really talking about things that make a difference, a life and death difference, especially as there in Denver, Dennis, with regard to what that looks like in the wintertime and how Denver Rescue Mission very much opens up their doors to anybody who needs help and a warm place to be able to stay in the middle of winter. And it really is great to know that you are one of the largest missions in Citygate Network, and certainly one of the ones that is on the cutting edge of how we serve and how we do best practices and how we're able to really care for people and have influenced other missions in our network as they've taken some of those best practices and kind of translated them and transferred them into their communities as well.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's such an honor and a privilege to do this work. One of the threads that I think that have that's been running through many of our conversations is the fact that we get to take our faith to work with us every day, right? And we get to work from that faith and do that, though, in extremely practical ways, right? Like if somebody's hungry, we feed them. If somebody is a stranger, we welcome them in. If they need clothes, we give them to them because we meet them at their point of need and we see them as God sees them and as Christ sees them. And then we have really the honor and the privilege to build a relationship with them and help them leave homelessness for good, and also help them to grow in their skill set, but also most importantly, their relationship with God. And I think that's why we all do this work, right? Because we get to do those things at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's been one of the evolutions, even as you talk about a long history with Citygate Network and missions and ministries that have been around for a long time. Certainly a lot of it started with just providing shelter. And now we found that it's so much more than that, that the need is really transitional housing or residence programs around addiction recovery, or semi-permanent housing, and really helping provide the socialization skills often for people that have been living on the street sometimes for years, and helping them be able to re-enter into society and into a space where they have shelter, and then they can begin to get a job and create relationships and do all those things. And Denver Rescue Mission does that incredibly well.
Well, and I really appreciate you saying that. So, if we think about the Conversations on the Bench event that we're doing right now, from your perspective, what are you hoping the outcomes of this will be?
Yeah, and I think that there's a number of them as we look at it, and in coming out of these conversations. One is that some of a lot of the conversations that are taking place, the gratitude has been thanks for providing a venue where oftentimes, as you said, the depth of these conversations, or even the people that we're having conversations with, we wouldn't normally speak with, or at this level, or around these kinds of issues. And there's really a sense of opening up a door to further conversation and further discussion moving forward. Sometimes that's going to be with city officials. Sometimes it's going to be with federally elected officials or educators, and recognizing that it does, especially in cities like Denver, it does take all of us. It's not one group that's going to be able to solve the issue of homelessness or help people with addiction recovery, and being able to look and say, you know, we're really not that far apart, or what you do is great and we can add this to that. And as we begin to continue to get closer in our partnerships together, maybe we have a better chance at how to solve this.
Yeah, that's so important. And one of, as you were speaking, I was reminded at one of our guests that was on earlier, she said, I think as a community, we have to stop challenging each other's whys. And we have to say, it's okay that this organization is doing their work because of their faith. And if there's another organization that does work and they're not coming from a faith perspective, it's still okay for us to say there are things that unite us, and how do we work together for those things that unite us. And I thought that was a really powerful statement on her part.
Yeah, I like that, and recognizing that whether there's a faith foundation or the love of Christ that compels us, there's still a need that's there. And for those of us that are people of faith, we recognize that God is going to be able to reach out and draw people to Himself in so many myriad of ways. And this isn't going to be the only way or the only moment. And so being able to, I think, hold that loosely and recognize God's sovereignty in people's lives, to say, it doesn't have to be this course of action or something that we're going to prescribe, but we can just, again, partner together and recognize the openness that brings, I think, greater impact as it's multiplied through many of us who have a similar vision, which is really helping people.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And, and you and I have talked about this before. We're given this opportunity to work with people that may not believe the same way we do. And sometimes we may be the only experience they've ever had with Christ. Yeah. And that's actually a blessing for us to be able to do that. So I'm being told that we only have a couple of minutes left, so I do have to say this. I'm sitting on a bench that's really hard, and I'm looking at what you're sitting on, Tom, and I didn't get the memo that we should find a comfortable bench.
That's right. So I'm glad that your team really looked out for you well this year, and I think maybe we can help you out for next year. How's that?
That would be good, because I think that this hard bench, that will be coming up in some team members' evaluations this year.
I'm sure it will, and you can just leave it in their office all year long to remind them.
Well, apparently the bench is a rental, so I can't even do that.
Rental.
Yeah.
Let me hit up your donors a little harder to say, could you please buy Dennis a better bench for next year?
There we go. We'll do a fund drive. We'll do a GoFundMe for a better bench.
Right.
Tom, I'm just so grateful for you and for just your friendship and your leadership, and one West Michigan guy to another, and we're both
Yep.
transplanted out here in Colorado now. Just really grateful that we get to do part of this journey together, and just thank you for your vision and your leadership and your heart for God and your heart for the people that we serve.
Well, likewise, Dennis, appreciate being able to journey together. Glad you're there in Denver and know how significant and important that is as Denver Rescue Mission begins this new chapter. And know that God has placed you for a specific purpose there. And know as you walk by faith, we walk together, walk with you, and support you and your team in what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And that couch does not look big enough for you to sleep on, though. So
that is a limitation.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey,
Tom.
good
I
deal.
appreciate it.
Thanks. Blessings. Bye, Dennis.